Well, the Flames know we love a good comeback, and they certainly kept us holding on until the very end against the San Jose Sharks. But now, can they do the impossible and allow Zayne Parekh to play?
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. Today, we are going to be talking about the key moments and the difference makers in last night's 3-2 victory over the San Jose Sharks, as well as the Flames calling up Zayne Parekh for the first time. And are they going to let him play? And if not, why not? It just doesn't really make sense. But we'll dive into that a little bit deeper later in the show. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your Calgary Flames every day. And let's dive right into this, because the Flames kept us holding on until the very, very end. They win 3-2 in regulation against the Sharks, and all the goals come in the third period. Like, I'm ready to turn the TV off. It's 1 o'clock. I want to go to bed, but no. Martin Pospisil gets hurt, and I'm like, I gotta keep watching. Gotta have some sort of like update, something like I gotta do it. Well, Adam Klapka was very quick to respond with a goal, and it was tied. It was game over, basically. Right after that, Coronado scored, and then it was Morgan Frost who originally was credited. Ends up being a Huberdeau goal, putting him at 28 goals, and then Matt Coronado with another chef's kiss of a snipe. Just unreal stuff from up and down the lineup. I hate that it came so late in the game and that there was none of this throughout the game. You left it to like the last 12 minutes. Kind of unacceptable. You need to play a full 60-minute frame. But back to Martin Pospisil. He ended up going into the boards a little bit awkwardly during a puck battle, and I couldn't tell if it was his wrist or his shoulder that he was grabbing. It honestly looked like he was bracing both. He needed help off the ice. It just looked like it hurt. But give it a few minutes, and he's back out on the bench. Crazy stuff there. We know hockey players will play through anything. I guess what is a little concerning to me is that there just hasn't been an update on any sort of update on Pospisil's status. I mean, maybe he's fine. Maybe it was more of it looked like his reaction looked worse than it actually was. Or maybe we're just kind of hanging out and waiting to decide if the Flames are eliminated to address the concern. But overall, the Flames were outplayed. And that is an issue. You are playing against the worst scoring team in the NHL. Out of 32 teams, you are playing 32 and you are number 30. There is one team that separates you. And that's not good. The fact that the Sharks just looked better doesn't really give me much confidence. I think that it should really be a concern. I don't care that it's late in the season. I don't care that it's a later start. I don't. You should know by now that the Flames, they don't necessarily hang around where they should be hanging around. And I feel like it's kind of a true testament to their talent level, because this was a must-win game, and yeah, they won, but only because they finally got some offense going in the final minutes. Um, I thought that they had a great second period, but being outshot 18-8 the first period isn't exactly inspiring or doesn't really give me the boost of confidence that I'm really looking for when it comes to this team, especially if they think that they are going to make the playoffs. The penalty kill, though, I have given the defense a lot of flack this season. I think that traffic cones may do a better job some nights, but once again, forwards on the penalty kill, just they do such a great job. And Kevin Rooney, I will go to battle for this in saying that he is one of the better penalty killers on the team, and that shouldn't go overlooked. That should not go overlooked just because he's Kevin Rooney of the fourth line. No, he is Kevin Rooney of your penalty kill, who went 11 for 12 over the last 5 or 6 games. Kind of important, especially when you're trying to hang in there and maybe earn a playoff spot. Just an idea. But overall, not necessarily a confidence boosting game. It's great that they won. I think it's another sort of testament to how if there's a will, there's a way. And you just need to be playing better. You have to. Rasmus Anderson on that on the second Sharks goal, it's like he's playing to be asked to like retire next season or something because it just there was no like you can literally see on the replay like he just freezes. It's like he becomes unplugged. Like he's buffering. He just quits. And that's not great because that second goal was absolutely preventable had he done his job. But coming up next, we are going to talk about Zayne Parekh joining the team after an incredible history-making season in the OHL here on Locked On Flames. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is super easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it is a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Managing your money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off of your first year. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts as well as YouTube. We hit episode 1000 tomorrow. How crazy is that? 1000 episodes of Locked On Flames. Thank you all for just being part of the show, whether you're a longtime listener or you're new here. It's appreciated. Thanks for hanging out. And speaking of joining the show, Zayne Parekh was recalled today. The Saginaw Spirit were eliminated over the weekend from the OHL playoffs. So just like we kind of all projected and predicted, Parekh joined the team in Anaheim. Eric Francis says he's not expected to play until the Flames are mathematically eliminated. And I don't agree with that. I don't think that you would be inserting him into your lineup to be this overall like game changer. We're going to talk more about that coming up next, but there are expectations and you have to be realistic. And I personally think that Parekh slotting in for a game, especially game against Anaheim, wouldn't be the worst thing. I think that he would be better than Jake Bean or I think he'd be more alert than Rasmus Andersson. I think that he would be kind of more aware because, like I just mentioned before, Andersson struggled big time last night. And that's not good. I get it. Like, everyone has bad goals. Everyone has bad nights. But it was honestly like you just unplugged him. Like he's a television and like it just went dark. That like there was nothing going on. Absolutely nothing going on. And it just stinks because that's not what you want. And especially with there already being a defensive logjam, you don't want to hold anyone's spot like extra coveted. But let's talk about Parekh and his history-making season in the OHL. He had 33 goals and 107 points. New franchise record for defenseman, mind you, for a defenseman. And he set a new OHL record for defenseman as well. He is great. He is, I don't want to say like, oh, he like compare him to Dustin Wolf, but the expectations are similar, I would say, because you are getting a player that has proven themselves at just about every level and is ready to take that or being tried to make that next step. And I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't be hopeful. I think that this is a very big step in the Flames path and just the path forward. Like, it doesn't matter if he slots into game 82 and is abysmal. It's still a game. It's still an NHL game that he really needs experience. Like, obviously, the goal is to make him an NHL defenseman, and I think he has a great future ahead of him. But there's no way of knowing that until you really throw him out there. And I think it's going to be like a similar situation that we saw with like Matt Coronado or Dustin Wolf. They were recalled. And the goal was to obviously like to get them familiar with the NHL pro hockey player lifestyle because it is very different from playing hockey at Harvard and playing in the AHL, in WHL. So Dustin Wolf and Matt Coronado, it is a rite of passage to, I don't want to say take your lumps, but to get acquainted with everything and not immediately jump into the lineup and see how did things work around the organization? What does a day-to-day, how does the organization function? Where does this group go? Who does what? Where is the best opportunity for me to, maximize my time here at WinSport or wherever you are? And that does take time. But I don't think we need to have that all figured out by April 17th. Just an idea. We should have a lot of things figured out by April 17th, but I don't think Zayne Parekh's transition to the NHL needs to be solved in 11 days. This is huge for the Flames. This is another testament to their drafting ability, their player development, and also what those top 10 draft picks bring into your organization. don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I do feel like Parekh is going to be one of your franchise best defensemen. I think it, obviously not going to happen overnight, but if you do everything you're right and you don't mess it up, or even if you do, hopefully it's not that bad or anything like that, but it would be a grave mistake should the Flames fumble this bag. I think that this may, I don't want to say speed up the rebuild, because that's not true. I think that it should encourage the team to continue to rebuild and realize, oh wow, look at what you can get in the top 10 of the draft sort of deal. And so be it. I mean, honestly, like, you need elite talent. That's where you're going to find the elite talent. They're not coming to you in free agency at the moment, and they cost too much to acquire through a trade. But coming up next, we are going to talk about the Flames just playing it safe, and maybe they should figure out it's okay to like dip your toes in and kind of cross the line a little bit and take a worthwhile risk. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on those other sites. Indeed sponsored job posts put your post at the top of the page and help you reach the right candidates fast. I think we've all been in a situation where down a team member, or maybe a new position could be created because you're all kind of running on fumes, and maybe your boss should have hired someone like yesterday. The pressure is on, and every day without the right person is a setback. And that's exactly when Indeed sponsored jobs come in handy. They make sure your post is seen by the right candidates right now. Now you can speed up the hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and show your support for our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, and you're following me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Jess Belmosto. The Flames play it safe. We know this. They don't take risky moves. Not even risky moves, but maybe moves that don't seem status quo, or that don't seem necessarily how they should be going with your plan. And I think it's okay for them to remember that taking risks isn't a bad thing. Nothing you do with your lineup from here until that final game against the Kings is going to drastically improve this team or change the trajectory of the season. Sure, you might have worse defense if you switch something up. Say you put Jake Bean on the top pairing with Rasmus Anderson. Probably not going to be great. But if you are looking to maybe, go somewhere, or just not even go somewhere, but just if you want your players to get a taste of the NHL, your young guys, just put Zayne Parekh out there. Like, I don't see what harm it would do. You look at the Flames defensive pairings and say, Like, there needs to be an overhaul. And maybe you just start plugging and playing. We talk about this a lot on this show with this organization. You need to see as many variations and variables of your combinations of your line changes, your pairings, um, your penalty kill, your power play as you can, because you don't necessarily have like a set top line. Uh, like it's not Gaudreau, Lindholm, and Kachuk. Like those aren't always going to be your starters, or that's not your top line. So you don't have that signature top line. I think Kadri is probably going to be the like common denominator, but he is constantly having wingers change. So there's a lot of room for the Flames to grow and to play around, especially once they're eliminated. I'm sorry. Given I'm assuming by Friday we'll know, especially with the Wild coming to Calgary, that is a must-win game. And both teams are kind of flip-flopping, but I think putting Parekh in would be fine. It doesn't have to be, Friday against Minnesota. Put him in against the Ducks. Or, there's another game next week against the Sharks. Why not? Rasmus Andersson is clearly banged up. And I know you're not going to get him to, sit. You're not going to be able to tell him, hey, you need to take tonight off. No, because even if you tell him that, he will be out there for warm-ups. That's just who he is, and that's just in the DNA of most hockey players. But allowing Parekh to join you and make his NHL debut would truly be beneficial, because then maybe you put Jake Bean on waivers. Not now, obviously, but at some point, because you have another year of Jake Bean after this. You have another year of Miramonov. And I feel so bad. I feel like I'm picking on Jake Bean. I'm not. I'm not happy with what we've seen from him. And allowing Parekh to step in at a low stakes time, like a game against Anaheim, that you do need to win, but I think it's fine. And okay, say the Flames managed to get eliminated Friday, mathematically eliminated Friday. Okay. Next week, they still have games. Let him play. Let Suniev play too. Pospisil's hurt. Like, it just feels like these are what's the word I'm looking for? It just feels like common sense, I guess. And I feel like Flames management is just very good at overthinking things and overcomplicating things, which in turn leads to decisions not being made that could change the path of the franchise. And that's kind of feels like where we are again. Rasmus Andersson, I understand you want to sign him long term, but the decline in play, man, it's not worth it, because something tells me that contract would probably age as well as Jonathan Huberdeau's immediately started off. Let Parekh play. That's it. That's really all I have. Mainly because it is the right decision. I understand that Huska is, I don't want to say set in his ways, because I do think that he will adjust, but there has to be a way for Parekh to come into this lineup and make a difference, regardless of if it's immediate or if it takes a game or two. And the only way you're going to find out is if you let him do it. It's not like it's the preseason and there's, he's got some rust on him because he hasn't played a game or whatever. He's coming off of the OHL playoffs, yeah, after being eliminated, but that momentum is still there. So he's not starting from scratch. Just my 2 thoughts. But that'll do it for me on today's episode of Locked On Flames. Thank you all so much for joining me. Tomorrow is episode 1000, and I couldn't be more excited. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Just Belmosto, and you can follow the show's Instagram feed at Locked On Flames. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great night.